are so many benefits to decluttering and living a more intentional lifestyle, not just the relief of getting rid of things and the feel of the openness, when you can finally step into a space that's been packed and you can breathe. It's such a great feeling, but there's also spiritual attachments that are stripped from us. This is why it's really an emotional experience when you start letting go of things, because there's memories. Sometimes there's guilt of letting go of something that somebody gave you. You're feeling like, well, I should keep that. A lot of times you're thinking about what you spent for that item, and if you let it go, it's kind of a waste, even though you're not going to get your money back. The money's already spent anyways. So all of these feelings and emotions come up when you start to purge, declutter, and live more intentional. So to me, an organic modern lifestyle means you're tapping into organic elements, an organic way of living, a simple way of living. This doesn't necessarily mean slow living or really laid back living. It just means you're tapping into simple things, simple eating, nutrient-dense foods, whole foods. You're tapping into getting outside and being around with nature. So spurts of slowing down so you can speed up. The modern part is you're utilizing the modern technologies and elements to make life a little bit more convenient. So it's not necessarily like living off of the grid or doing everything, striving and working so hard for those things, because you're going to exhaust yourself. If you have to do everything, like if you had to tend to a garden, tend to a farm, tend to a home, fix all the repairs on the home and make an income, and school your kids and be a good mom, a good wife, and take care of yourself, you would burn out. So it's not really about that. It's about tapping into the convenience of things in life and putting yourself in an area where you're in that flow, so it becomes easier to do those things. For example, I moved to a place where it's easy for me to live a healthy lifestyle. I don't have to go far. I don't feel like I need a vacation because I live like that. So you're tapping into those modern elements, but in a very simplified way. Your home is intentional. Your shopping is intentional. You're keeping things in order, and you're learning to let go and not have attachments. I think that's the biggest thing, is a lot of times we have these attachments towards things, like we need to hold on to this for the rest of our life, or else, we're all going to die, and we're not bringing the money and the stuff with us. So when you ungrip from things, a lot of people will spend their life building an empire, and then they realize that they don't get to enjoy any of it. It goes on to someone else, or they lose it, and that can happen. So this style of living is really keep things light. You may move, you may not move, things come and go. It's more of a light rhythm, and you're not wasting your time hoarding or having a false sense of security because stuff, keeping a house packed with stuff sometimes as you get older makes you feel more secure. And really, it's a prison. So it's a fake sense of security that you have because you're not living life. You're being a prisoner in your own home. Some of the things you might feel when you start decluttering and purging and letting go of things, like I said, is guilt. You might feel guilty for letting go of a gift somebody gave you, memories, cards, Christmas cards, birthday cards, photographs, photo albums, crafts, things that your kids made when they were little that you look back on. And I'm not saying you have to just go burn everything, but when you learn to let go of some things, there is a lightness that comes. It's like a liberation that comes where you feel liberated, you feel lighter, you feel almost like you can breathe. You're just learning to let go, and you're learning to move on. It's such a beautiful place to be. You might also feel emotional. You might feel sad. You might be thinking about simpler times or different times in your life that you had that are no longer there. Memories attached to people who have passed away. That's a big one. Again, that person is in our memory, not in the stuff that you're holding on to. You might tell yourself, well, gosh, this costs a lot of money. I just can't get rid of it. But, if you had something that cost of something of value, find somebody there's always people who will appreciate something. I'm not saying dump it off all at Goodwill and, you know, something like that, but there's homeless shelters. Bedding, blankets, towels, things like that can go to pet shelters. There's orphanages, there's foster care families, there's at-risk pregnant moms, a lot of people that just need help and supplies, and a nice jacket that doesn't fit you anymore, or a nice vase could help that single mom. It could help make her feel better, could help give her hope, give her that feeling of home, instead of you having 50 of the same things or something all crammed in your closet that you may never wear. This is all part of coming up higher. It's also taking note of how you spend your time, and then realizing, wow, I spent a lot of my time doing all of these things that really didn't matter while I was neglecting my health and things like that. Because there will come a time where you'll look at yourself in the mirror and you might say, gosh, I'm overweight and my body doesn't feel right, and I'm tired, and I have bags under my eyes, and my skin doesn't look good. And your body's trying to tell you something, trying to tell you something's up and that you need to take care of it. So learning to let go of the things that steal your time is part of coming up higher. It's part of creating an intentional lifestyle. I broke things up into different phases. My first phase was to handle tangible things like the home, and really getting things under control, getting in order, decluttering, purging. I unfollowed a lot of people who had really pressured me to buy things that I was really returning, or to run in and out of the store to buy a new drop or something. So first I did that. I cut up credit cards, and we actually had moved and changed our whole lifestyle, so there wasn't a way out. So the first phase, took like a year, from the decision to the move to handling everything, because you're still in the residual of those past decisions. You're still paying off. Like, if let's say you close or cut up a credit card, you still have to pay it off. So you're still dealing with the residual of those past decisions, even if you made the decision not to do it. So phase one was really just that, getting all of that in order and under control. And as I was going through it, there was many battles of, this old self, things I wanted to keep, things I wanted to buy, going to do the same things. And I really had to be super intentional about my new self and my old self, and make sure that this battle that I was in with the two, that the new self was going to win, that I was not going to go back to those old ways to get those same results and live that old lifestyle. After that first phase, I felt like, okay, this is under control. I've developed some really good habits, some really good disciplines. Now my environment is reflecting how I feel. My kids are responding better to their rooms not being full of clutter. We were just in more of an orderly, clean space where everything had a purpose, mainly. The only season that I would really allow us to really indulge was around the holidays. That is still the time that I like to go a little bit more abundant and have some fun, but it was just a season. And once I got phase one done, I moved into phase two, which had to do with taking a really good reflection of my health, and what was all of this spending and shopping and consuming and anxiety doing to my body. So I did a hair mineral test to see what my mineral levels were and how my body was processing minerals through the cells. And I did some blood work. I needed to see where my hormones were, my adrenals, basically just get an overall picture of how my body was functioning. And I found that I was in a massive fight or flight mode for a very long time, and I was heading towards burnout. I had really high liver enzymes. My hormones were very unbalanced. My testosterone was almost depleted. My free testosterone was in the negative. My estrogen was through the roof. So I had inflammation, skin problems, gut problems. My stomach would hurt all the time. My protein was really low. I had high copper. All these things just totally off. Like, I was a mess, and I felt like a mess, and I just thought, oh gosh, I'm a big mess. So once I got a really clear picture of where my body was, and I knew I was out of shape because my BMI was off, my muscle was really low, and I had bad posture. So everything really reflected what was happening inside. So I started on simple things. I didn't handle everything all at once because I didn't want to get overwhelmed. I supplemented with minerals that my body needed. And then I did get on hormone replacement therapy for a period of time while I navigated through learning how to level my hormones naturally. So, and honestly, I felt amazing when I was on it. I mean, my testosterone boosted up, my estrogen leveled out, I had energy, my libido was amazing. I felt 20 years younger. It was just like the push that I needed to go further. And it was bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. I did 2 sessions for 4 months each, took breaks. I'm not on it now. I haven't been on for, 8 months or 9 months now. But that really allowed me to get into a good weight training routine, cleaned up my diet, and just simplified. So I went simple, basic food, proteins, a little bit of carbs, kept some fats in. I cut out eating out for the most part. I allowed myself still to celebrate birthdays and have some ice cream, but I really just cleaned it up about 80% of the time, and I kept it very simple. And I just kept adjusting as I was going, and I was taking note of how I felt, how I slept, and where my weight was every couple weeks, so I could make the adjustments that I needed to adjust. Also, when my hormones were way off, my hair was falling out, so that was another thing that I was like, okay, I need to get, it was on the list of things to really take care of. So during phase 2, it was all about healthy eating, healthy living, sleep, exercising, and all of that. So the home was in order. I wasn't feeling pressured. My focus wasn't on stuff. I wasn't going in and out of the stores returning. I didn't care who had what. I didn't care about viral trends. I still don't. And then I moved into that. And now I'm kind of into phase 3, where I've learned some really good habits. Now I'm just tightening up those habits. I'm simplifying and streamlining. I'm focusing on, okay, now I'd like my hair to get a little bit thicker. So now I'm kind of going into the, maybe some refreshing my wardrobe, and spending, obviously during all this, you're still spending time with the family and your husband and wife or whatever, and you're still doing life. But phase 3 is just all about streamlining, simplifying, and really cultivating everything that I have learned, so it's now an ingrained version of myself. If you have any questions about it, just reach out. I'm trying to answer a lot of these questions from some of my YouTube videos that you guys have asked me about, so I could just elaborate on. I do keep in my highlights on my Instagram, I keep lifestyle and nutrition and some things in there, so you can always revisit back in there if you need to see what a plate of food looks like, or you need to see what something looks like to match what I'm talking about. Just go to my highlights and you'll be able to see it, or send me a message and I'll try to answer.